The 19th century Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky was born into a noble family in Ukraine. As a child, young Helena displayed a gift for clairvoyance as well as an interest in metaphysical phenomena. Years later, she traveled throughout Europe, the Middle East and India, studying with various teachers and Sufi saints. Following the guidance of an Indian yogi named Mahatma Maurya, Madame Blavatsky co-founded the Theosophical Society. Theosophy, meaning divine wisdom, refers to knowledge that comes through spiritual experience rather than intellectual understanding alone. The Theosophical Society is dedicated to uplifting humanity through a realization of the oneness of life and the wisdom underlying all religions. Madame Blavatsky wrote several important books on theosophy, including Isis Unveiled, The Secret Doctrine, The Key to Theosophy, and The Voice of the Silence. The Secret Doctrine, published in 1888, is considered the Bible of Theosophy and a source book of esoteric tradition. Although she was credited as being the author of the Secret Doctrine, Madame Blavatsky often expressed that she only conveyed the ancient wisdom that was passed on to her. The true authors of the work were her teachers, the Mahatmas, or great souls who were the guardians of the secret wisdom of the ages. Today, on Words of Wisdom, we invite you to join us for excerpts from the Days and Nights of Brahma, from Madame Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine. In Vedic scriptures, the days and nights of Brahma refer to major divisions of time in the universe. These extensive time periods are known as kalpas. Each day of Brahma or kalpa is followed by a night of equal length when all elements are dissolved or merged into their original primal form. When the cycle moves to the next day of Brahma, a great creative element is initiated once more. The Days and Nights of Brahma. There are many kinds of pralaya, dissolution, but three chief ones are specially mentioned in old Hindu books. The first is called Naimitika, occasional or incidental, caused by the intervals of Brahma's days. It is the destruction of creatures, of all that lives and has a form, but not of the substance which remains in status quo, the current state of things, till the new dawn in that night. The other is called Prakritika and occurs at the end of the age or life of Brahma, when everything that exists is resolved into the primal element to be remodeled at the end of that longer night. But the third, Atyantika, does not concern the worlds or the universe, but only the individualities of some people. It is thus individual pralaya or nirvana, after having reached which there is no more future existence possible, no rebirth till after the Mahapralaya, great dissolution. The latter night, lasting as it does for 311.04 trillion years, and having the possibility of being almost doubled in case the lucky Jivanmukti reaches nirvana at an early period of a Manvantara, is long enough to be regarded as eternal if not endless. The Bhagavata speaks of a fourth kind of pralaya, the nitya, or constant dissolution, and explains it as the change which takes place imperceptibly in everything in this universe, from the globe down to the atom, without cessation. It is growth and decay, life and death. When the Mahapralaya, great dissolution, arrives, the inhabitants of Svarloka, the upper sphere, disturbed by the conflagration, seek refuge with the Pitris, the progenitors, the Manas, the 7 rishis, the various orders of celestial spirits and the gods in Maharloka. When the latter is reached also, the whole of the above enumerated beings migrate in their turn from Maharloka and repair to Janaloka in their subtle forms, destined to become re-embodied in similar capacities as their former when the world is renewed at the beginning of the succeeding kalpa. These clouds, mighty in size and loud in thunder, fill up all space. Napastala goes on Vishnu Purana. Showering down torrents of water, these clouds quench the dreadful fires, and then they rain uninterruptedly for 100 divine years, and deluge the whole world solar system. Pouring down in drops as large as dice, these rains overspread the earth and fill the middle region, Bhuvaloka, and inundate heaven. The world is now enveloped in darkness, and all things animate or inanimate having perished, the clouds continue to pour down their waters. And the night of Brahma reigns supreme over the scene of desolation. This is what we call in the esoteric doctrine a solar pralaya. When the waters have reached the region of the 7 rishis and the world, our solar system, is one ocean, they stop. The breath of Vishnu becomes a strong wind which blows for another 100 divine years until all clouds are dispersed. The wind is then reabsorbed, and that of which all things are made, the Lord by whom all things exist, He who is inconceivable, without beginning, the beginning of the universe, reposes, sleeping upon Sesha, the serpent of infinity, in the midst of the deep. The adequate Creator Hari sleeps upon the ocean of space in the form of Brahma, glorified by Sanaka and the Siddha saints of Janaloka, and contemplated by the holy denizens of Brahmaloka. Anxious for final liberation, involved in mystic slumber, the celestial personification of his own illusions. This is the Pratisanchara dissolution, termed incidental because Hari is its incidental ideal cause. When the universal spirit wakes, the world revives. When he closes his eyes, all things fall upon the bed of mystic slumber. In like manner as 1,000 great ages constitute a day of Brahma, so his night consists of the same period. Awaken at the end of his night. The unborn creates the universe anew. This is incidental pralaya. What is the elemental dissolution? When by dearth and fire, says Parasara to Maitreya, all the worlds and patalas, hells, are withered up, the progress of elemental dissolution is begun. Then, first the waters swallow up the property of earth, which is the rudiment of smell, and earth deprived of this property proceeds to destruction, and becomes one with water. When the universe is thus pervaded by the waves of the watery element, its rudimentary flavor is locked up by the elements of fire, on account of which the waters themselves are destroyed and become one with fire, and the universe is therefore entirely filled with flame ethereal, which gradually overspreads the whole world. While space is one flame, the element of wind seizes upon the rudimental property or form, which is the cause of light, and that being withdrawn, pralina, all becomes of the nature of air. The rudiment of form being destroyed, and vibhavaso, fire, deprived of its rudiment, air extinguishes fire and spreads over space, which is deprived of light when fire merges into air. Air, then accompanied by sound, which is the source of ether, extends everywhere throughout the 10 regions, until ether seizes upon cohesion, sparsa touch, its rudimental property, by the loss of which air is destroyed, and ha, the ether, remains unmodified. Devoid of form, flavor, touch, sparsa, and smell, it exists embodied, multimate, and vast, and pervades the whole space. Akasa, whose characteristic property and rudiment is sound, the word, occupies the whole containment of space. Then the origin, noumenon, of the elements, Butadi, devours sound collective Demiurgos, and the hosts of Dayan Chohans, and all the existing elements are at once merged into the original. The primary element, consciousness, combined with tamasa, spiritual darkness, is itself disintegrated by Mahat, the universal intellect, whose characteristic property is Buddhi, and earth and Mahat are the inner and outer boundaries of the universe. Thus, as in the beginning, were the 7 forms of Prakriti, nature, reckoned from Mahat to earth, so these 7 successively re-enter into each other.
And when we kill the cow, that means we kill God inside that cow, and killing God is what we should never think about. From that principle, we should not harm others, should not eat meat, because if we eat meat, we kill animals. Dr. Buidak Hum, MD, Vegan.
Joyful viewers, we appreciate your company today on Words of Wisdom.